Well, welcome everybody. My name's Catherine Palmer, Cat Palmer. I'm one of the PORDS painters. And with me, I've got Maurice Snelgrove, who's also a PORD painter. We're just taking a minute to introduce different members and also to talk about today. Our topic is about different travels that the PORDS have taken and also one particular memorable trip that Maurice and others took. So Maurice, the PORDS have traveled in Europe and in other places around the world, including the Arctic. Where have you gone? Can you get a little flavor?
Yes, we've gone. We started off with some major trips in Mexico, and then we have moved to. We've been to Italy. We've been to Greece. We've been to Belgium.
What about in Canada?
And well, in Canada, we have some favorite places on the East Coast, of course. We've been a number of times to Newfoundland and to the Maritime provinces.
Lovely. And today we're focusing on a particular trip that you took to the Eastern Seaboard, but in a different country.
Yes.
I'm just going to share the screen so we can show some images. So you went to a different country. Where was that?
Well, the country, of course, was right next door. The country is the United States. And one of our group, Kim Atkins, has a lovely summer home in Chatham, a lovely small village town in Cape Cod.
Okay, and here's a shot of a lighthouse beach that's right, I think you called it Harding Beach. It's right in Cape Cod. I know I've painted there at a subsequent trip, but it's very typical of a scene that you might enjoy as an artist painting.
Well, of course, you know, there's nothing like a good lighthouse scene for a plein air painter. Right. So, and there are a number of lighthouses, of course, all along the.
Yeah, and the place where you're visiting is quite small, but with beaches all around.
The beaches all around. You get to any number of beaches in 10 or 15 minutes from Chatham.
Cool. Now, you had a purpose in going, a broader purpose or a goal by the end of your trip. And what was it?
Well, the purpose, of course, was first of all to paint, which is what we're all about. But we were very fortunate to have a next door neighbor, or Kim was very fortunate to have a next door neighbor who had a small gallery in Chatham. And so she had prearranged us before we left the Cape to come back to Toronto to have an exhibition of our work. And this is their lovely shingled home, the Would You Remember Gallery, which is the
classic cottage country gallery name. So when you arrived, you met up with Kim, and that was before others had arrived. So you and Kim were getting organized. What was the next thing that happened?
Well, we got up in the morning, went downtown, which is very close to home, to buy a few supplies, but found that the atmosphere on the main street was not exactly what you might call normal. There seemed to be a lot of agitation, a lot of loud conversation, and upon entering the local hotel, found that there was the
TVs were on, right? Everyone was glued to the TV.
People were crowded around the television sets, and what was happening, of course, was the Twin Towers were coming down.
So it was September 11th.
It was September 11th.
And soon you found all the flags around were at half-mast, and then the flags being put on the beach and all over town. That must have been very challenging for you as just having arrived and with all the positivity of this happy painting trip, and now there's a shift in gears. So as artists, when everyone did gather, what did you do?
Well, of course, as artists, what we did was we had to paint. Now, it wasn't an easy transition from watching some television and trying to absorb what was in fact going on that morning.
Right.
Nonetheless, in the afternoon, we had taken.
You were out painting. And is this?
we went.
This is an early painting that you did on that
This
momentous
was a
day.
painting done on the afternoon of 9/11, and
Tell me a little bit about it.
well, it was really trying to capture the space, but also trying to deal mentally with what was going on in our heads.
Mhm.
So my color harmonies and even some of my brushwork tend to be trying to capture some of that aggravation, some of that feel of depression and tragedy that was going on.
Right.
Uh,
And a gentleness. There's a gentleness to it too.
well, perhaps a little bit. I think probably it was the color harmonies that I used in the painting of the beach and the boats that were most indicative of kind of my mental frame of mind.
And the sky is a little bit different than some that you might have created.
Well, it's kind of a subtle approach in the sky, but I tried to sort of introduce a little bit of a contrail of a jet plane moving diagonally
Right.
across the sky to suggest that the planes that were involved.
So the events of the day. And then, so as a group, you continued to paint, and around town, you would find these kind of memorial things. So a lot of things were there to absorb and be affected by. Tell us about these flowers here.
Well, these flowers were some flowers we had picked and put in our painting space in Kim's home. After a day or two, of course, they started to wilt somewhat. We were doing some painting in the studio space, and I took these flowers as a little bit of a key to incorporate into a painting of how I envisioned and felt about the events that had occurred just the day before.
I'm going to just shift to the next shot then, which is the painting you're referring to.
So this is what came out of my brush when I was painting. You can see I dealt with the American flag primarily, which of course we were seeing all around the town and in the countryside for that matter, people's windows. The flag suggested to me somewhat the proportion and the verticality of it of one of the actual towers. So I sort of treated the flag as one of the buildings and incorporated the wilting and dying bouquet of flowers, which was in our studio space. You can see at the top of the painting two kind of explosive shapes, which are an indication of the collision of the airplanes with the tower. And my background colors have to do with the dust and the debris of the collapsing the buildings. And on the right-hand side, the darker, more reddish values of the horrible loss of life within the buildings.
Yeah, it's very dramatic in the position of the flag itself. And then it just got that optimistic, especially the sunny, full-on yellow flower that's at the uppermost one in the picture. So there's both generation and a reflection of the tragedy occurring in the one work. So a very powerful piece. Thank you for sharing it with us all. I'm just going to shift gears for a minute though, because the PORDS continued to paint and produced a body of work. And I'm just going to show the gallery a little bit about the gallery show at the end.
So
Who's
here
in the
we are.
picture? Who's in the picture, Maurice?
Well, of course, we're all in the picture. The PORDS. Here's Tony Batten, myself, Heidi Burkhardt, and Kim Atkins.
And I can see there's quite a variety of work that was produced as a result.
Well, we did get through quite a few paintings and somehow managed to mentally get ourselves outside the tragedy that we began with and painting the Cape Cod countryside. It was,
So, yeah, so as artists, you reflected the emotions of the day, but also the beauty of the landscape um, and persevered in that sense of continuing to do the work and making it all happen. So well done. Thank you, Maurice, for sharing such an important story about how artists absorb and transform their experiences within their work. And it can result in some very powerful images, as you've shown us today. So thanks again, Maurice.
no, thank you, Kat. It was
We'll
an
be in-
experience we don't want to relive.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks again. We'll talk to you, I'm sure, one of these moments soon.